Hi. Hello. Hi. Where's my mouse? Pavin, your mum. Hello, I just got back from a baby scan. Good, how is it? Pavin is currently on a 7 stream streak. My god, you're a loyal one, aren't you? How were the scans before I actually start going into the stream? Again, anyone who doesn't know, we are here for good. Got to see that in 4D. I don't know what that means. Why do you mean see it in 4D? What, you got like a model of it or something? Like a 3D printed version? Hmm? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I just got to explain to me what seeing the baby in 4D meant. Merlin, well done, lad. Basically, it's like a full view instead of black and white. Do we say Happy Father's Day to you? Does that count? I guess so. I guess it counts. Anyway, yes, I am your father. Thank you. Thanks, father. Why is the text chat on this screen down here? Do you want to pop up there for me, son? Thank you. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Get the face cam on. Bosh! Hello. Hola. Mi casa. Brno. Yes, we are. But let me get the professional bit out of the way. We are here for the MotoGP Grand Prix at the Czech Republic, or the Brno circuit, as we call it. As you said, old school circuit. If you were here yesterday, you realise, as we mentioned the track, can we talk about Bez, because that was not very professional of him. It wasn't very professional of him, was it? And he's paying for it. I think that's the first time we've seen someone actually get banned from a race for things like that. Because obviously it's happened in the past in all forms of motorsport where they've kicked out on a marshal. But now they're clamping down on it more. I was surprised that he got a race ban. I thought maybe they'd give him a double long lap or something. I was very surprised it's a race ban. Controversial opinion, right? It wasn't professional of him. Is it race ban worthy? I don't think so. I don't think it is race ban worthy. Yes, he shouldn't have done it, and he should have been penalised in some way. I agree with that. Also, the marshals should kind of be trained on how to pick a bike up, especially the MotoGP bikes, which is not an excuse for Bezzecchi doing what he did. But I was massively surprised it was a race ban. That caught me very off guard. Of course, if anyone who doesn't know what happened to Bezzecchi yesterday, he once again dropped it and fell out of the sprint race, so again scoring 0 points on a Saturday, and they're closing in on his championship lead. His actions afterwards in the gravel when he slapped a marshal twice because the marshal was accidentally revving the bike has got him a race ban for today. So there's a high chance, especially if Martin scores up over 15 points, there's a high chance Bezzecchi will lose his lead in the championship standings. There's also another chance that Marc Márquez could get the gap down to within 50 points after being 102 points behind 3 or 4 races ago. I just don't know about the race ban. I mean, because what's funny is the difference of generation and how people perceive things, isn't it? Like, we look back at the famous clip of James Hunt smacking a marshal with the 70s, and everyone thinks it's a classic clip, and it's classic James Hunt. Yeah, go on, James. He decked him. And we view that as a classic James Hunt clip. And they'll go in today's world, and Bezzecchi had slapped the marshal, and it's a race ban. Again, I'm not sticking up for Bezzecchi. I'm saying what he did was completely wrong. I don't think it warrants a race ban, though. But then there's the other angle. Technically, it is assault. So maybe assault does value a race ban. But the marshal knew what it was doing or not. Their reaction is not warranted. A ban to me is fair because you're basically saying it's unsettled for everyone. Yeah, no, I can see. I get that angle. I do get that angle. But then could they not have done the same thing if it was a 3 lap, 4 lap, long lap penalty? And then everyone, even that would have kind of deterred riders from reacting like that. Because it's also, see, the thing is, right, it's another thing where you have to put yourself in the rider's position. He's still full of adrenaline, and people underestimate the effect of adrenaline. And you put yourself in adrenaline, you've just dropped out again, you are frustrated, and you're hearing someone, the first thing you hear is someone revving the absolute shite. myself playing, revving the absolute shite off of your bike. Yeah, that's what I mean. More than long lap. Do like a. They can decide how many long laps. Do 4 long laps. Martin's got 2 long laps, so do 4 long laps. Because 4 long laps drops him back. Let's say you lose 2 seconds each time. That's 8 seconds. That'll drop him back in the pack in the midfield, to 13th. And it's the problem. The funny thing is when you bring in these incidents and you look back at how many incidents there's been where it's been involved a rider and a marshal. What's the line? Is it just making any sort of contact with a marshal was the line, or is it? I mean, I understand slapping the marshal is not correct at all. If they wanted to do a harsh penalty about a race ban, then I'll say starting at the back. Yeah, see that I think starting at the back, and do 2 long laps. I think personally, controversial or not, I think a race ban is a bit excessive for it. I think it's also, they're charging a lot of money now for the tickets, or momming there before when you've just taken away one of the star riders the day before the race. And it's not like it's a doping scandal, is it? That's why I think there needs to be. It's funny. I think it's harsh they've introduced this new penalty out of nowhere. There's been no warning before, as far as I know, that a rider will get a race ban for that sort of contact with a marshal. I think you should have started at the back. Start at the back, give them a long lap, give them 2 long laps. That instantly penalises them, and then you're punishing their race while they're still able to race. And then they're paying for what they did. I think getting them to miss an entire race, I don't know, I didn't really agree with it. I agree they should have been punished, yes, and I agree that his actions were completely wrong. I just think they're... But now in turn, people now have to stop looking at the old Rossi clips when he was dragging the marshal, and when he was on the Ducati in 2012, and all the clips on riders and marshals, and then people have to stop looking at the James Hunt clip and saying it's a classic clip. Because now you can't say that, surely. Because then that'd be hypocritical. Like as I said, the clip of James Hunt decking the marshal, you can't praise that or call it classic, because they've changed that perception of it now. So your question is, with this situation, if it was anyone else, say me, Crush or Top Rack with the race ban, I was thinking that it didn't. Bezzecchi doesn't help himself because of who he is now. He's one of the leading riders in MotoGP, so the cameras are going to be on him more. I would like to think if it was any rider, they would have got a ban. We are talking about sport though, and sport every now and again deters punishment depending on who it is. I do think nowadays, especially in MotoGP now, any rider would have been hit with that ban. And the fact that it was someone like Bezzecchi who's the championship leader is them putting their foot down and showing an example of the power they have, and they will ban any rider from that perspective. So from that point of view, okay, I get it. You've put that step on. You've banned the championship leader. You've made your power known. But now you can't be hypocritical. Now but now again, where's the line? Can you now argue with a marshal, or is it like arguing with a referee in football? You get booked straight away. You get a ban straight away. You get penalty straight away. I don't think the ban is a good precedent for it. I really don't. Because now you're punishing a rider with the same punishment if someone was cheating, and I don't think that's. And people were moaning at Aprilia. See, this is where my controversial opinion comes in. People were moaning at Aprilia for appealing it, and I'm like, well, of course they're going to appeal it. Their rider's just been banned for a race. Their lead rider's been banned. Why have they not appeal it? They had to try appeal it. That's literally the job of not the lawyers in the team, but you know what I mean, the type of those people in the team, to appeal those decisions. And I think they've set a precedent now, which they have to stand by, and I think people now cannot be hypocritical. I think the view now for, let's say the James Hunt clip, let's say the old Rossi clip, let's say a few clips. There's even this situation last year where Marc had to push a marshal out of the way because they're doing something on the bike which is hurting the engine, which is true, is what's happening. So I don't know. I'm really caught in the middle of it. I think it's quite an excessive punishment. I mean, if he was like, if he got him in the guillotine in the gravel trap and then switched to an arm bar, was going to break his arm, then I think, okay, a different conversation. We'll have to wait and see if something like this happens again. If so, let's see if they stick to the ban rule. That's what I mean. It's also, I don't like the fact that it just brought this penalty out of nowhere. Because it's not the first time this happened. It won't be the only time it's happened. And they introduced it now, and they've done it to the championship leader, which maybe was, a perfect situation for them to do it, as I said. But I'm still not sure. I think you could just start him from the back, and because in MotoGP now, if you start from the back, you're not going to be able to come through and win. You're just not. You'd probably get into the top 10, and the top 5 would be 10 seconds up the road still. So you wouldn't have had a chance to win a point. You can gain some points back. Well, wouldn't have a chance for a win, so you can gain some points back. But that's my opinion. I think it was success. I think people now have to be careful of what they think is a classic clip and what's now deemed a ban. We're now banning him for the same punishment Ian Oney got when he failed a drug test. So, is it along those limits? Is it along those lines? Not too sure. Not too sure. And imagine you're the paying fan of Bezzecchi and you've waited for the weekend, and you wake up Sunday morning and you're banned. Ogura really holds back at the start of the formation. Yeah, I've noticed that. Him and Quartararo do. Quartararo's done that for years because he's just calm. It's a 48-degree track temperature though, Celsius. That's a hot tarmac on that track. Again, I will say it. Anyone who knows me knows how much I hate this live timing screen. So again, I've got to time it. I've tried to time as well as I can, but if that's right or not, I don't know. If the dots do start moving before I start saying the race has started, ignore the dots. Or ignore me and watch the dots. Either one, your choice, I don't mind. Either way, you do you. Come on, predictions, Pav. And anyone in the chat, give me predictions. I said yesterday, I do think Ogura will win this because I think as soon as it goes after the half race distance, that'll be when Ogura comes, I think, to the front. I thought the crowd would be a bit more at that stadium section. I mean, it's busier than yesterday, but then again, from the view of the camera down with the crowd, it does look like quite a lot of people. So this is where Jorge Martin does have to do a double long lap to take Martin out of any prediction. Then again, in Moto 2, the guy who won the race had to do a long lap penalty. He started the long lap penalty in second and came out just in front of third and remained second, so he didn't actually lose that much time. Because of pressure, but I know Ogura will be a powerhouse in the last few laps, yeah. I still think it will be. MotoGP didn't race here for 5 years. Damn, is that much they didn't race here? 2020, 2025. Bro, I forgot they didn't race here for that long. I think, they ran out of money, and then they got money, and then they had to re-tarmac. And then had to re-tarmac again. Let's see if Mark just... The thing is, for me, is Mark looked absolutely shattered after the sprint race, so I don't quite know how he's going to put up with the race distance. So I don't think he'll be able to keep with the top 2 for the entire race. He might at the start, or he'll either be with him at the start and then he'll drop off, or he'll just sit back for the first half of the race and then maybe come forward. Apparently Acosta's crash yesterday was due to a ride height device issues. It just didn't come up, didn't disengage from the rear of the bike. That's, again, not the first time that issue has happened, but we still have them. The riders are lining up on the grid now. Now I'm waiting for the gorgeous green flag. Ogura, I love when he does that, but on pole position. He's just like he did yesterday. He waits for for him to go to the pole slot. The gorgeous green flag is at the back now, so we were waiting for the 5 lights. There's the green flag in. Revs are on. 5 lights have been dropped. The clutch is dropped. If they go, Ogura, good start. Pecca, good start. Digi Antonio, good start. There's 3-1 in someone. Ogura with a hell of a launch. Ogura with definitely the best part of the second launch. Mark's going to go around the outside. I think that's Pedro Acosta in turn one. Diego Moreira is keeping on as well. Moreira a bit wide in turn one. Mark's going to the inside of Pecco at the exit for that late apex of turn. He's going to follow Digi Antonio. A much better start today for Digi Antonio than yesterday. But Ogura does lead into the back straight going into turn 3. Digi Antonio in second with Marc Márquez in third and Pecco Bagnaia in fourth. Diego Moreira continuing to be strong as well. He held 5th place in turn 1. That's a lunge. Márquez lunges Digi Antonio into this left-hander up the hill into second. He is going aggressive. I said he'll be either aggressive at the start or aggressive at the end. He's aggressive at the start. Digi Antonio dropped down to 5th. Remember, Márquez and Digi don't get on. Digi always talks about racing Márquez. Márquez has just bullied him completely in that left-hander up the hill into second. Pecco Bagnaia looks back and move, and Márquez stays behind in third. Márquez up to P2, chasing Ogura. Both factory reds right behind Ogura. Moreira's up to 4th. Now Digi Antonio getting bullied now as Pedro Acosta's go down the inside of him. Down the hill in the right-hander. Pecco Bagnaia down the inside of Mark in the stadium section. Bagnaia looks strong just as he did yesterday. They know if they want to beat Ogura, they have to get him early. Maybe that's why both factory red bikes have gone aggressive early doors. We've got Ogura leading Pecco Bagnaia, leading Marquez, leading Moreira, leading Pedro Acosta. Pecco down the inside of Ogura, that's going to be close. Marquez also headbutting the rear wheel of Pecco Bagnaia, at the right-hander, going back down the hill now. That was very close in this danger. I don't know how they ride that close. Bagnaia's going to try again down the hill. Ogura's going to let it happen. I think, no, he's keeping with it round the outside. Pecco can't get it moved on the brake, so Ogura still leads Pecco Bagnaia. They're very close. Coming up the hill, Ralph Fernandez well wide of that turn 10 corner as well. Up the hill now to where Pedro Acosta dropped it yesterday. Bagnaia looking again down the inside of Ogura. He's desperate to get past him. Maybe the flip-flop into the last corner. He looks there, but Mark's better here. Jesus, Pecco really aggressive. This is Pecco when he's feeling the front end. This was Pecco a couple of years ago before a lot of people started watching Marquez's comeback. This is what Pecco used to do on the front end of the bike when he's got the feeling there. He's very, very sensitive. With the front Jorge Martin down the inside of Johan Mir coming into the penultimate corner now with that left-hander. Is Camille respond with the flip-flop into the last corner to the main straight? No, he can't. So over the line, it's Ogura leading Bagnaia, leading Marquez, Moreira, Acosta, with Di Giannantonio hanging on. Di Giannantonio bullied early on in that one. He'll be annoyed about that. But he left the gap for Marc. Marc made a beautiful lunge in turn 2. Pecco Bagnaia down the inside again at turn 1. No, he can't do it. Ogura is very late on the brakes. Bagnaia is desperate to get past because with the feeling Bagnaia, as I said, Bagnaia is very sensitive with the front end of the bike. And the reason why he struggled is because he hasn't had the feeling he needs. He's got this sweet spot on the front end of a MotoGP bike where he's brilliant. If it's anywhere out the sweet spot, he struggles with that. Pecco Bagnaia will go down the inside now. This left-hander where Marc got Di Giannantonio last lap. No, Ogura leads it around the outside. Ogura is not letting Pecco do it. Pecco down the inside, his right-hander now. It's a beautiful move from Pecco. It's the classic Brno cutback. But Ogura, the undercut on the exit, perfect from Ogura. Puts Pecco back in second. Marc's going to have a move from Pecco Bagnaia maybe. Down the hill in the braking. No, he stays behind third, stays behind Pecco Bagnaia. Ogura still leads. Ogura, I said he's going to be strong now. And Ogura, the thing is, they saw yesterday in the sprint race what can happen. Pedro Acosta's got Diego Moreira actually. Pedro Acosta somehow in this KTM is up to P4. He's overtook the LCR Honda of Moreira. He dropped down to 5th. Di Giannantonio stays 6th. But they saw yesterday the pace if they lead. Ogura does not want to give the track position up. He wants the clean air. And Pecco Bagnaia knows if he gets clean air, he can pull away. But the thing with Pecco Bagnaia is if he gets in the lead, his tyres will go with about 10 laps to go. It tends to be a trend with Bagnaia recently. Someone's gone down in turn 8. That's going to be fast. And Pecco Bagnaia's got a great one down the back straight. Down here, Ogura went defensive. Pushed Bagnaia to the inside. But Bagnaia's going to make the move under braking down the hill. If he runs wide, I won't be surprised. Quartararo, I think, has dropped it. Fabio Quartararo is, I think, out of the race all run wide. We'll see. He's dropped it. He's crashed Quartararo out the race on lap 2. Not a surprise, really. Pecco Bagnaia leads now with Ogura second for second. We're coming to the section where Marquez is quickest now. This chicane come up the hill. Marquez is going to get a good exit on Ogura. This could be a move into the penultimate corner. But this is not what Ogura needs. Pecco Bagnaia in front of him getting sandwiched now by the factory reds. This is going to be a lunge from Marc if he tries it. Marc is going to try it. Marc is going to try it. Marc is going to try it into the front left hand. That's me club. Ogura's got to let it do it. Marc's going to have your way there, but Ogura's going to have the undercut exit onto the main straight. Acosta can see Marc's bunda now. Not anymore. Now we can see Ogura's bunda, but Acosta's going to get bullied by Moreira and I think Di Giannantonio soon. But we have a factory Ducati 1-2. They needed to go aggressive. I didn't know if it'd be at the start or the end, but it's going to be at the start. Ogura's looking at turn 1 now on Marc Márquez, but he can't do it. Factory Ducati red 1-2. Pecco Bagnaia leads Marc Márquez with Ogura in third. But again, early doors. You still have 18 laps to go still. And I still think Ogura, he needs to be patient and know that he's got the pace for the last part of the race. However, entertaining to see the factory reds be that aggressive from the start. It's very rare. Pecco Bagnaia, you can see he's got all this. Di Giannantonio, I said, down the inside of that left-hander on Diego Moreira. That'd be P5 for Antonio, unless Moreira holds it in. No, he doesn't. That's P5 for Antonio. He'll get Acosta, I think, quite quickly soon. Acosta could just drop back now on that KTM. Battle of the stinky Yamahas for 16th, 17th, and 18th since Fabio Quartararo is out. Alex Rins is currently leading that one. Of course, all Yamahas out the points. Cameras on Jorge Martin, who's got a double long lap penalty because of the incident in Hungary. Wow. That was fun watching the factory reds at the start, wasn't it? Martin's not doing it. I'm surprised by that. I don't know when. I don't know if he can do the double long lap when he wants, or if there's a certain limit he has to do inside the laps. But Pecco Bagnaia is trying to build. You can see how much the factory Ducati boys are pushing, and they really had to bully Ogura. Marc did a great move at the inside of who was it on lap 1? Di Giannantonio, sorry, at turn 2 or 3, whatever you want to call it. I call it turn 2. I don't count this as turn 2. I call this turn 2. Aggressive move there. He pushed Di Giannantonio wide. Had to get the Ogura's wide in turn 10 down the hill now as he's trying to keep up with the factory reds. But they've got this under control right now, the reds. Ogura has to be patient. Has to be very patient because the pace in the race will come to him towards the end. But if he loses positions to Acosta and then Digi, then Ogura could be in trouble. But we've still got Pecco Bagnaia leading Marc by half a second, who's also pulled half a second to Ogura. But we saw yesterday, Marc could keep pace with Pecco yesterday, but not enough, anywhere near enough to make a move. So I do think this could be a bit of a slog of a race, and that it comes alive towards the end. Once the fatigue kicks in, once the tyre wear starts really kicking in and the bike starts sliding, watch what Ogura can do. Watch what Marc can do as well, because I think in a few laps more in the sprint race, Marc maybe could have caught Pecco Bagnaia if Ogura passed him. So that will be interesting in about 10 to 12 laps time. It's just who can figure out what chess move to do now. They're all kind of following each other back up the hill. Pecco leading Marc by half a second still. Marc's built the gap to Ogura by 6.5 tenths. Acosta's still finding 5th, especially if Acosta gets involved. That's what I'm saying. If Ogura gets done by Acosta, I mean, I'm amazed already that Acosta's in this position on that KTM. Absolutely amazed. He should be nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. The next KTM, by the way, is third. Look at that on the... You can see on the timings here. Let me show you on the mouse. You can see right here. You have Bastianini, Binder, Vinales. They're the 3 KTMs out of the 4, and Acosta's in 4th. This timing is behind, but deal with it. The end of. I wasn't that far off, was I? I kind of got it close, but the drivers are about here now. But the annoying thing is I can't just correct the 2 seconds, can I? Martin's not doing the long lap still. What if I reset the time? They're going to go back. Oh, where are they going? Okay. Join me as we play this game of finding out where the riders are. Can I pause it anywhere? See, look, why are they still running? Bikes are bikes, talent is talent. Talent is talent, but you need a bike to win the races in MotoGP, and Acosta does not have that bike. I'm surprised Digi's still behind. I thought Digi would try and make a quick move of Pedro Acosta. I paused it, by the way, in the start of the hill here. Why are they still moving there? Is my question. That's all I ask, is that this responds to when I click play and pause. And now I've got to time it again. But it is what it is. Marc Márquez clearly has closed the gap a bit on Pecco Bagnaia to within... It's going to be within 4 tenths when they go over the line. At the minute on my stream it's 4.5 tenths. That will be within 4 tenths. Ogura's dropped off again another 10th or 2 this lap. But I think Ogura just needs to be patient. This way he's learning now the front pace of a MotoGP race. Just needs to be slightly patient. Let the race come to him. He doesn't have to force it as they come over the line now to start lap. Was it lap 4 or 5? Lap 5 now of 21 at the Brno Grand Prix. Bagnaia leads. I've clicked play. Come on, Dots. Catch up, catch up, catch up. Look. This is going to annoy me. This is going to really annoy me. I'm going to have to do it again, aren't I? The riders now coming up to here because they're that bloody fast on the straight. The Dots can't keep up with them. Maybe they are now. Well, that's fine. I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that. Maybe, lads, we found it. Are the chronicles of this awful timing screen? No, it's jump forward. I hate it. I hate the timing screen so much. I don't know why now it's just stopped there, but anyway, it is what it is. Back at the front, it's still actually it's 4 tenths. No one's moved that lap, but they're just kind of eyeing each other out. The thing is, it's a hot tarmac, it's a hot track, so time management is once again it's always crucial, but it's going to be even more crucial because of the high temperatures. Cameras are again on Martin. Is he now going to do the first of his 2 long lap penalties? Watch for the way if anyone's watching their own stream. Watch where he comes back onto the circuit. There we go. His first long lap penalty. He's got to be careful where he comes back on because it could be an unsafe release. Claude AI for a new tracker. Yeah, literally. I'm not paying a subscription fee for that though. He's allowed to go on the green, Martin, because for like the safe exit, the safe entry, back onto the track. But he's done that well. Martin has dropped down to 10th place. He's going to have to do 1 more. What did he lose? 2 seconds there? 2 seconds? Maybe just under 2 seconds. He practiced all weekend to get it perfect. He's got 1 more to do. Still, Pecco Bagnaia leads Marc Márquez, who leads Ogura. Top 3 hasn't changed. Mira's just got Diego Moreira, so Moreira's starting to slip off early. Remember yesterday, Moreira did drop it on the opening lap. They're talking about the commentary. So Martin's allowed to take the green if there's no like room for him to come back on the track. He's allowed to go on the green. The argument is now he used a lot of green then, and is it like an advantage for him to use that green to come back onto the track and then use the excuse, oh, there's someone on the inside. Someone was on his inside down the exit, but was it enough to squeeze that much onto the green? Don't know. It's to find a track limits. Lap 6 now. Pedro Acosta the fastest lap of 53.5. How the hell is he doing it? No idea. As Aldeguer, Moreira's dropping back now. Aldeguer looks to get Moreira into turn 1. They're a bit wide. There's going to be a run up the hill for turn 2. Maybe for Ogura down, Aldeguer, down the inside of turn 3. Imagine doing a long lap just to be told after you're doing it wrong, go again. It's happened before. It's happened before, it'll happen again. Some people have done it. There you go. Aldeguer, as I said, down the inside of turn 3. Moreira's going to have to give that move up. He's got no chance now. No pace currently on that LCR Honda for the rookie Diego Moreira. He's going to come back, try and run the outside of Aldeguer. That's not going to work. Aldeguer's going to push you wide, as he's just done. There you go. That's odd by Moreira to try that. Aldeguer's always going to force him wide. The thing is that there's been people in the past who's done the long lap and they've got it so wrong they've just gone straight onto the gravel. It's happened before, especially when the long lap started to come in, and it always makes me chuckle a little bit when it happens. Does he have to do the next one, the next lap? He is going to do it back to back for Jorge Martin. Maybe that's why. So now he can focus after this. See, this could be close on the exit now for Martin. Now he'll use the green. Oh, there he goes. Oh, that one's a bit dodgy. He did come on in between. He's dropped down where it's his 13th place. So he's come out in between all the KTMs. That was a bit dodgy. There was a little gap between Brad Binder and who's in front of him, Bastianini, which he put there. Vinales on the grass. Maverick Vinales is still in the race. He's getting 1 point at the minute. Yeah, I agree with the commentary. That was a bit of I didn't like that exit back onto the track there. That was very sketchy. Back at the front, Pecco Bagnaia is still leading Marc Márquez. He built the gap to 7 tenths. If I was in the bin, though, I wouldn't have had that. Nice. Nice. Not as good as you won yesterday, but I like how you're reusing the Binder joke to try and get it flowing. I respect it. Not your best. This is good to see Pecco Bagnaia have that confidence again in the front end. This is old school Pecco. 53.5 now for Pecco. He now responds from Acosta's fast lap to do the new fast lap of the race. I don't know what Mark's time was or what Ogura's time was, but it must all be similar because they're all half a second away from each other. As I said, I expected this to happen. I expected the pace to kind of drop a little bit. Well, not drop, the pace is fast. I expected the riders to just match each other. And then I reckon the last 10 laps, maybe the last 8 laps, when the tyre wear comes down a bit, that's when we're going to see really the position shuffle out a little bit. Drivers have to just see each other out now to get to that point, get through this little, not graining, F1 be the graining stage, not the graining stage, but you have to let the bike slide a bit more, and when the bikes start to slide more is when you see riders come through, i.e. watch Ogura when that happens. Stop cursing Maverick, by the way, just because Mark has posters of him on his walls. Everyone has posters of Maverick Vinales on their wall. Yep. Where is he? Still 15th? He's still 15th. Toprak is winning the battle of the stinky Yamahas now in 16th. I just want Toprak in the point. Looks like windy on track because that cameraman is really struggling to hold on to his camera. Bastianini and Martin are battling what looks to be coming into stadium section. Bastianini stayed ahead of Martin. I shoot loads in his poster. Oh, wow. That's the very effective Maverick Vinales for you. Cal Crutch to watch. Crutchlow is only 0.3 of a second behind Alex Rins. Go on, Cal. Also, we haven't seen a replay of Quartararo's crash. It's made me think he just dropped the front at turn 8, which again is here, around here, the stadium section. It's going to be one of those slow front crashes. One of the sad, depressing ones to watch. Into the chicane section. Marquez has closed a little bit on Pecco Bagnaia this lap, especially in that second sector, a 10th and a half almost. Lost a bit in the third, but Martin is still fully in the battle, these KTM boys. I thought it would have been clear by Bastianini by now, but it is, although it's a wide track, it's that physical and it's that wide, if you make a move, it's quite easy for the other rider to respond. Martin, track limits warning. Wow. There you go. Now, is that green at the runoff, or is it somewhere else? There we go. So we had Acosta the fast lap, then Pecco responded the lap after with a fast lap. Marc Márquez now responded with 53.4 fastest lap. Here you go. Now they're responding to each other. Well, how many laps are left? 14 laps left. Or 13, really. Nah, I don't think they'll push yet. I don't think this is where they'll start slowing yet. I don't think this is where you'll see the front runners yet. It will happen in just a matter of laps, though. Pecco Bagnaia sliding that Ducati into that left hand. That's stunning to watch. I still think the pace of the Ducatis is going to wear off, though. I really do. I really think the pace will wear off with a few laps to go. I can't see that holding this pace the whole time. I think Ogura is just sitting there. And if he is just sitting there, it's smart from him. It's the right thing to do. Let the Ducatis wear themselves apart. This is interesting watching Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Márquez. You've already seen these two at the front, both of them. Hello, Ben. I guess I can take a break from practice for you, mate. Hello, Ben. This is practice for Interlagos. This is interesting, actually. It's rare you see now both. Ben was late. Ben was late. Ben was late. But we got to put pressure on him for the Interlagos race later on. He's bigged himself up. Then he could win. No, alright. As I was saying, it's interesting, but we don't really see both factory red bikes at the front together like this. So this is very rare. I don't know what tyres are on. We know yesterday the factory teams ran the medium front and the soft rear. I don't know what tyres are on now. I didn't see. I'm going to guess they're on mediums. I can't see any yellow band for the hard tyres. And I can't see any thick white for the soft. So I'm going to guess, yep, medium. Which I assume most riders will be on. There's pressure. I need to make sure I'm on point. There is pressure now. There is pressure. Is Alex Márquez racing today, or did he decide not to? Oh, so he pulled out of the main race as well. Okay. I've only just noticed that. I thought it was... The original plan was after yesterday morning to skip the sprint race to save himself for the main race, but he pulled out of the main race as well. So he tried. You know, he did the practice sessions, did the qualifying. Credit to Pecco is keeping that gap to Marco. Ogura is not making any progress at the moment. Yeah, it's true. I think that would change in a few laps. Ogura now, you can see they've upped the pace. They've upped the pace because look how much they've gapped Pedro and Digi that lap. You can see Ogura's now decided to go with the factory race. Big up Pedro Acosta for doing what he's doing on that dog up KTM. Looks like he's got a dent on the bottom of his fairing on the KTM. So he's made contact with someone somewhere, because that definitely looked like a dent on the bottom of his bodywork. So I'm just trying to think of. Ogura's definitely gone with the Reds. You see, he's put a second nearly on Pedro Acosta, who in turn has put a second Di Antonio. Ogura has seen the factory Red boys do these fastest laps and has responded and gone with them. That's interesting that Ogura. I mean, I say gone with them. It's 8.5 temps, so he needs to up the pace a little bit more. But he's clearly shown he can gap Acosta when he wants to, and they can gap the 4th and 5th when they want to. So it's between the top 3 if they all stay on the bike. It's between the top 3 here. Acosta and Digi, I don't think will have a chance to respond. I want to see if Ogura can close the gap more and go with, because if he can't close the gap to the factory Reds, then he's already lost it. But again, the tyres aren't gone yet. The bikes aren't sliding yet. That's when I think the strongest ones, based on this pace, the strongest ones in the last 5 or 6 laps will be Ogura and possibly Marc, because Marc's always stronger when the bike's sliding. I mean, if Ogura's coming for a win, he has to stick it with him. Yeah, I mean, he needs to. It's only a chance to stay with them. Ralph Fernandez in 9th, Ogura's teammate. His pace has been weird this weekend as well. Oh, Morbidelli's still in the top 15. Wow, go on Morbidelli on the Ducati. Well done. You're in the top 15. You are the lowest Ducati, but it's fine. I'm surprised Martin cannot get past, but that's showing how difficult it is to overtake. Top Brack, look at him leading this Dinkies Yamaha battle, and has actually pulled a gap to the other Yamahas behind him, to Miller and Rins. He's already figured out the Yamaha. He's already figured out the bike. He's already quicker than all the Yamaha riders. So next year on the Pirelli tyres, just watch Top Brack. He's got to suffer this year, but next year I do think he'll be very. I don't know if it's very competitive, but he's already leading Yamaha already within half a season. Marc Márquez has closed the gap to Pecco Bagnaia within 0.3 of a second now as they come into turn 2 left-hander. Marc is now closing, but this is a roundabout yesterday, 10 laps in, where Pecco's pace started to drop off a bit, where he started to slide more. Marc, that lap was a 10.5 quick. He's right on Pecco now. He is right on Pecco's rear wheel now, almost going to nearly the stadium section. The gap is just over 2 temps. As soon as these start, clip that. What am I clipping? What are we clipping? What did I do? I don't know what we're clipping. Yes, I don't. Watch Top Brack next season. I stand by it because he's on a Pirelli tyre, and he won the Superbike Championship on a Pirelli tyre. Clip it, save it, put it on your wall. Yeah, all medium tyres. I've just seen tyre choice, all mediums. This is around, as I said, where Pecco's pace started to drop yesterday. So now watch Marc and Ogura. Ogura's actually dropped off this lap by a tenth. That's interesting. But Marc is all up the, as Pam says, all up the bunda of Pecco Bagnaia now. Going back down here on the brake, and he's going to start eyeing up a move. He needs to get a move. See, if Marc wants to beat Ogura, in my opinion, he needs to get the move done early on Pecco and pull the gap before Ogura has the chance to attack Pecco. Because he will have the chance to attack Pecco later on. I stand by that. I think he will have the chance. Pecco's pace will drop. And I'll be amazed. I mean, I'll be happy to eat my words if it doesn't, because it means Pecco's figured out why his pace drops. But I expect it. Where's Crutchlow? He's still hanging on to Alex Rins a little bit. Oh, Jorge Martin's now got back, and that looks to be in the chicane section going back up the hill. That would have been a tight move at the apex of that chicane, but going back over the line, Márquez is still within 2 temps now over the line. He's gained on Bagnaia in the last two. He lost a bit of time down here in the downhill section, but he's gained all that time back, going back up there on the last 2 corners. Within 2 temps of Bagnaia, the move has to be either into turn 2 here, or maybe down the hill. I don't even see it happening there, to be honest. Could be here. It's going to be a left-hander. I don't see Marc doing this move in the right-hander on Pecco Bagnaia. It's going to have to be a left-hander, I think, which is the best chance to turn 2 on the penultimate corner. But he's closing again. Pecco Bagnaia within 2 temps, going up the hill under braking now. None of them wide. Perfectly, both of them on line. Aldeguer's got track limits warning. I don't know where Aldeguer is in the position. Oh, he's 7th. There you go. He's used his warnings up already. Market. Oh, this will be a line. He's not. Hodgson thinks Marc's never go big. He's too far out to do it down the hill here, plus into a right-hander. I don't see Marc doing it there. Look how much they've been able to gap Pedro Acosta and Di Antonio. They've been able to put 2 seconds on them. The top 2 and the top 3 with Ogura has been able to gap 4th and 5th like they're not even in the same series as them. That's how easy it was for them to put 2 seconds on. The pace has been upped as we approach halfway through this race. Of course, Marc's quicker than left-handers. He's stalking Bagnaia now. I don't think Bagnaia's going to have an answer to him when Marc makes the move. It could be down the hill. It could be done downhill. I said it'd be a left-hander. It could be, if he can get the run out of this back straight, it could be downhill. Forget Pedro and everyone behind. Yeah, they dropped them. They have no chance now. No, Marc's too far away to do down the hill. Too far away to do down the hill on Pecco Bagnaia. It's going to be a left-hander. It has to be a left-hander for Marc. Marc's going to go deep in this apex. It's going to pick up a very late apex for a good run into the chicane up the hill. Can he do it into the 7th? This will be tight. No chance into the chicane. It'll be far too tight. He's eyeing up, I think, the penultimate corner where he got Ogura. I think that's where Marc is eyeing up. He's been stronger there all weekend. He also taught Bagnaia how to do the chicane earlier, as he said yesterday after qualifying. Back up the hill now. Marc is in this slipstream. He's going to be, I think, too far away even now to Bagnaia, because Bagnaia, of course, is braking late. Ogura is staying within the 1 second mark. Jorge Martin passes Morbidelli for 11th, but he's staying within the 1 second mark as Ogura, and that, I think, is crucial, because if these two start fighting, Ogura will join that pack. Márquez said something yesterday to Ogura after qualifying. Bagnaia was just trying to make conversation. Marc straight away went, "Have you got vibration mid-corner?" And Ogura said no, which is interesting because Marc really wants to know the answer to that, which clearly they're having, or Marc himself is having. Both of them doing the wide line in turn one for the late apex, or the exit turn one up the hill. Clearly the Ducatis are having vibration, but Marc is again too far away. He's too far away to make a move down to the left hand up the hill. Here comes Ogura. Ogura that lap round was faster than both of them. I think 2.5 tenths or 2 tenths faster than both of them. He's now within 6 tenths of Marc Márquez's Ogura. So now Ogura is picked up. As I said, look at the lap 12 or 21. This is when the bike will start to slide. The tyres go. Pecco now is slugging the rear of that Ducati into the corners down the braking. This is where it will go. Did you have vibration like chatter in the corners? Yeah, no, the clip made me laugh. The clip, and it's how Marc said to Pecco, ask him. And Pecco just didn't, so Marc did. The clip really did make me laugh. And it's horrible, isn't it? Pecco's built the gap this lap. Pecco has responded this lap. The gap is 3.5 tenths now going back down the hill. Pecco's really... I did not expect Pecco to be able to respond like that. How many laps are left? 10 laps left? Well, 9, but... Pecco did ask, just not the right question. No, Pecco asked how old he was, which was interesting. Rider of the day, though, I need to stop doing that. It's a fan competition. I don't care about who gets Rider of the Day or Driver of the Day. Just don't show that again. No one cares really about it. Bagnaia is sliding that bike into that chicane now, as these are really putting away. Ogura is really going with him. He's got within half a second of Marc Márquez now. The gap between all three runners are the same intervals between each of them. This is where we're going to see now. Oh, Bagnaia is sliding the rear in now. Maybe he's still got confidence. He's pushed the gap this lap he's built the gap over half a second now to Márquez. That's 2.5 tenths quicker than what he did last lap, I think. Rider Day Miller, where is Miller? 17th. He's not Alex Rins. He's not the last Yamaha, though. The last Yamaha is Alex Rins in 18th. Cal Crutchlow is just behind him within 2 seconds, I think. D'Antonio is still behind Acosta. It's funny, despite how wide this track is, it's hard to overtake. Very hard to overtake. Back up the hill, Bagnaia leaves Marc Márquez by still 5.5 tenths, who leaves Ogura by 5.5 tenths. Where's my agua? Márquez has dropped back. This is interesting. Now, I thought Marc would try and push and make a move and then maybe try and hold the pace while he's in the lead. Hasn't worked. Bagnaia is able to respond. Maybe Marc's... That's funny. The gap right now on the screen between Marc and Pecco is 0.523. The gap between Marc and Ogura is 0.523. That's hilarious. Now it's 0.505 and 0.501. And Costa's gone wide. D'Antonio is going to use the turning of that Ducati created KTM to make a move at the stadium section on Pedro Acosta. That's P4 for D'Antonio. Can he close what's now a 3-second gap to the top 3? I don't think Acosta will be able to respond. Acosta would love to respond to D'Antonio, but he can't. I think Pedro's just lost. I don't know what tyre's running. Maybe a soft front. There you go. They've just said I had to hear that because it was odd. He didn't slide wide, and I had the initial thought. But I want to hear what Hodgson and Gavin Emmett said. Tyre pressures. The fact that he just let Digi past means Acosta might be on the limit with this pathetic tyre pressure rule. And of course, how do you get the tyre pressure up? You follow a bike in front of you. You bit the temperature up. You increase the tyre pressure. And that looks to be what that is for Pedro Acosta. It's a stupid rule. They need to change it. I don't like it at all. Very stupid rule, but that seems to be what that is. That'll be why you let him past. We've seen it before. We've seen it again. Lap 14 out of 21. Ogura now fastest lap of the race. A 53.3. I can't see what the Ducatis did because the timer screen's awful. But that was the fastest lap of the race on lap 13 for Ogura. Here he comes now. Bastianini's got more. Martin is still 11th. He is not at the pace to really close the gap. Then again, his pace all weekend has been around 10th. So why am I surprised? He qualified 10th, didn't he? So I shouldn't really be surprised. Gap between Pecco and Marc is within 4 tenths. Gap between Marc and Ogura is just over 6 tenths of a second. One of these to make the move. Ogura about to turn it up, maybe, possibly. I think so. Now is going to be the time they're going to go. If Pecco by 9, there you go, 53.6 for Pecco, 53.5 for Marc, and 53.3 for Ogura. If they're going to put the pressure up on Pecco now and turn it up, it's going to be about now. Now is going to be the time. The fact that Acosta's now made that move to increase his tyre pressures probably shows they're now thinking about where the tyres are. And Marc has closed in the stadium section to within 3 tenths of a second, but he loses it in this right-hander here, which is interesting, and then can't really make the move down the hill braking, but he's definitely closed the gap back on Pecco and I, so maybe he took a breather. Mark is going to be shattered. The thing is, I don't think Mark physically can do it at the minute because he was absolutely shattered after the sprint range, which remember is half the distance, and he's still going. I say that he's definitely closer to Pecco Bagnaia now, going back up the hill into the chicane. He had a look left to see where Ogura was. That was funny. You don't normally see Mark do that. He's definitely thinking of Ogura, but Mark now is quicker in this chicane. He's going to get the flip flop, and Pecco Bagnaia is going to get slipstream up the hill. He's too far away to make the move up the hill into the penultimate corner, but he's going to be eyeing up again. He's with it just over 2/10 of a second behind Pecco Bagnaia. Ogura is still sitting there just half a second behind. This is someone's going to make the first move. It's like a chess match right now. It's a chess match at 180 miles an hour on a bike. That's what it is. And that's the fun of this. That's why I love this sport. Someone's going to make the early. Mark's got a very good exit on the last corner. I think Pecco had a little moment in the last corner. That's what Mark now has responded to Ogura's fast lap. Ogura did a 53.3. Mark does a 53.2. Here comes Mark and Ogura. They need to make the move early if they want to fight for this win. Pecco Bagnaia, I don't think he's going to respond. Mark is right at the rear wheel. Pecco Bagnaia coming out of turn 1, back up the hill. Mark's going to have the slipstream. It's going to have to be a move. It's going to be a lunge into this left hand if Mark can do it. He's really in slipstream team. It's going to go to the inside. This will be a lunge. Pecco Bagnaia is late on the brakes. Very, very late on the brakes. Do they both make the apex? They both make the apex. Actually, Pecco's a bit wide. So Mark maybe he's going to try and flip-flop into the inside of turn 4. No, he's going to stay with Pecco Bagnaia through turn 4, going back down the hill. I thought that was going to be the one where Mark lunges it, but he's on the rear wheel, on the bundu of Pecco Bagnaia, as Pap would say. Down the hill, Mark is going to make a movement to the right-hander. I stand by that. I just can't see how Mark can make the move into the right-hander. He's not strong enough this weekend in the right-handers compared to Pecco and Ogura. It's going to have to be a left-hander. As I said, his best position is turn 2 or the penultimate corner. He's not close enough in the stadium section because he loses a lot of time in that downhill right-hander. So now he's going to line up. The only right-hander I think Mark can make the move, if you see my mouse on the screen, will be this one down here. The way Pecco got Ogura at the start of the race. This will be the move where potentially Mark can do at the right-hander. But Mark's now going to try and get the exit for this exact straight to make that exact move. He's going to try the undercut line for down this back straight. No, Pecco's got a very good exit going down the back straight. They're already going 240 kilometers an hour without even blinking. Mark's too far away down the hill. Pecco both starting. They both can go for the wide entry. There you go. Miss the first apex. Go wide mid-corner. Get the second apex. Pecco's wider than Mark. Pecco's a lot wider than Mark. Mark's too far away to make a move into the chicane. Back up the hill into the left and right. But watch for the penultimate corner. If Mark can line his exit up, and Pecco's definitely sliding more. Pecco's struggling to forget. Mark is on his rear wheel. Can out the chicane. Back up the hill. Now Mark's going to have the move. Mark's going to surely make a move into this penultimate corner. He's got the slipstream. This is where he got to go. He's got to stand the bike up. No, he's way too far away actually from the helicopter view. You saw just how far away he was, too far to do that. Pecco Bagnaia is doing a great job right now, holding Mark behind. And actually, Ogura's not been able to close as I thought. Pecco Bagnaia's also up the pace. Moreira's got Marini for 9th now, so he stays in the top 10 still. Lap 16 to 21. This is the first battle we've really seen between Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia. This is the first time we've really seen Bagnaia be able to give it back to Marquez. Now, coming out of turn 1, Mir's got Acosta now, so Acosta is just losing pace. Mir P5, you're up there, Mir. Acosta's dropped well back, which tells me he's really struggling with that front tyre because he's just dropped 4 seconds digitally to let Mir pass. Acosta's got front tyre problems. You can tell. Mir is up to P5. Aldeguer will get Acosta soon. And it's a race for Acosta being effective. Mark's going to try the undercut on Pecco Bagnaia now. The undercut on the chicane. Here we go. It's perfectly led up. He followed him through the cane. Can Bagnaia get the line back for the exit out the corner into the back straight down the hill? You saw Mark line it up. He didn't make move down the inside, but you saw he was actually lining up for the early inside line to surprise Pecco Bagnaia. I said it in the podcast. You can make the overtake there by surprising your rival. And it's exactly what Marc Márquez did down the inside of the right-hander. He's mugged me off, isn't he? Marquez gone defensive in turn 8, very defensive. But Marc Márquez now leads. Can he pull that gap to Pecco Bagnaia as he needs to? There is 5.5 laps left of this race. Can Pecco Bagnaia respond? That's a perfect move for Marc Márquez. He lined it up how he needed to. He's sorry he can't outbrake Bagnaia heavily on the brakes. Bagnaia's been perfect on the brakes, so Marc surprised him in that right-hander with the flip-flop. Back down the hill, someone's clipped Bunda. Thanks for that, Ben. Just clipping Bunda every now and again. Back down the hill, Marquez leads Bagnaia now. It's the first time Marquez will lead this race. Bagnaia is already losing the speed. Marc's pulled already 4/10 of a second to Pecco Bagnaia. I said this would happen if he gets attacked. Ogura needs to attack Bagnaia now, otherwise Marc would escape. But no, Marc is not fit. Marc is knackered, and yet again he's putting him in his shadow. But Bagnaia has lost speed already this lap. What's the gap already? 6.5 temps coming back up the hill. Ogura's already closed on Pecco Bagnaia. Pecco Bagnaia is losing the front. You can see his tyres are going. The front end is going for Bagnaia's bike. Ogura's going to have to make a move soon. Because of what Martin and Digi are doing, despite not racing, Marco Bezzecchi still leads the championship by, at the minute, 10 points ahead of Martin, with Digi and Tony just 23 behind. Acosta's losing speed there. Acosta is still ahead of Aldeguer somehow, but the fact that Acosta's staying within 2 temps of Mir shows me he purposely dropped back to build the front tyre pressure, otherwise he'll get like a 17-second penalty. Whatever the stupid rule is, over the line, Marquez has pulled 6.5 temps on Pecco Bagnaia. That was the perfect move Marc needed to do. Ogura needs to do exactly the same now. Coming out of turn 1, Ogura's got the pace clearly. He's going back up the hill on Pecco Bagnaia. He's not been able to outbrake Bagnaia. You're not going to outbrake Bagnaia today into this corner. He's going to have to do the flip-flop what Marc did. Marc drifting his Ducati in. Bagnaia, they're all drifting it in. Ogura actually looks most comfortable. Both Ducatis sliding in. Ogura's too far. Pecco's also gone wide, which means he can go defensive for the right-handers, go back down the hill. He's closed a bit on Márquez, actually, has Pecco Bagnaia in this first sector. Ogura's closed now on the exit, down the back straight. He's going to move down the hill. He's too far away, way too far away for a lunge. This is going to be interesting what Ogura can do. Ogura's going to run wide. Oh, no, he'd made the apex. Ogura is smelling it. He needs to, because Marc's pulling away. Marc will just pull away now. That's why Ogura needs to get it done quickly if he wants to win this race. The stadium section, Pecco will go defensive. Ogura can't make a move. Do you smell what Ogura is cooking? Well, he's just smelling the exhaust of a factory red Ducati right now. That's all he's smelling, which probably is a very nice smell, actually. I do like the smell of that. Ogura's going wide of that. He's going to lose the... he's going to mess up his entry now for the right one. But actually, he's brilliant from Ogura this. Even if he doesn't make the move, he went wide to the left-hander, and he's had to make that move and then cut it up. Big boy, what happened? You're saying, oh, is Ogura make the move? That's going to be a lunge from Ogura. He's lined it up perfectly in the direction. That's going to be a lunge down the hill. He's going to stand Bagnaia up. Perfect move from Ogura. I thought he was going to do that. What I was saying before he made the move is he went wide on the left hand in the stadium section, but what he did, instead of trying to hold it, he just accepted it, cut back across, and used the exit line he could to get the momentum down the hill for that back straight to make that long lunge on Bagnaia into that downhill turn 10 right-hander. He's now up to P2. The gap between Ogura and Márquez now is 8.5 tenths, just over 4 laps to go. This is the real fight for the lead. Marc Márquez, Ogura is the real fight. Pecco Bagnaia will not be able to respond to him now. Perfect moves from Márquez, perfect move from Ogura, but Ogura, as I was saying, lined that up 2 corners before. Weirdly, making a mistake and running wide actually invited him to line it up and make the move. Perfect from Ogura. Stunning from him. He's just already closed the 10th on Marc Márquez. Pecco crying in Italian. I said his tyres will drop off. I did say, and Pecco's actually got to watch with Digi Antonio. I can't see what Digi's lap time is. I don't think Digi will catch him, but he won't be able to respond to Ogura or Marc. And now, can Ogura close on Marc Márquez? This is the GOAT you're hunting down now. He's not fit, he's knackered, and Ogura's hunting his first win in MotoGP, but again, you're racing Marc Márquez. It's one thing to catch him, it's another thing to pass him. The gap is already coming down. He's already taken over a 10th and a half out of him within the half a lap, not even half a lap, a sector. There you go, another 10th gone. 10th gone in the first. He's already closed 2 attempts on Marc Márquez within 2 sectors. With no bike right in front of him, Rins has entered the pit, so Crutchlow is now 18th. Big up Cal Crutchlow. Top back still leaving the stinky Yamahas, but they're only the only Yamahas in the battle right now are him and his teammate in 16th and 17th. Ogura now not having a bike directly in front of him. Pedro Acosta track limits warning. His race is done anyway. And what was I saying about Ogura? Oh yeah, now he doesn't have a bike directly in front of him. He has that clean air. He can attack the corners more. I love the fact he turned running wide at the left-hander into the exit, a perfect exit for the back straight to line the move up for the hairpin. That was constructed and were brilliant. Again, a perfect move from Marc. They're showing the replay of Marc's move on Bagnaia, the flip-flop of the chicane. It's going down the hill. Now, once again, the 8 tenths, Marc's responded in the middle sector, which is expected because there's left-handers. There's, how many left-handers in the sector you got? 1, 2, 3. 3 left-handers, 2 right-handers, or 3 and 3. So every time there's a left-hander, Marc will extend the gap. Every time there's a right-hander, Ogura will close the gap. This is how it is. Digit took 6 cents from Pecco. He did. I did say at the start of this lap, I'd second-guessed myself, but I said I can see Pecco's pace just falling off a cliff, and it's happening. Digi has got it from 2.1 to 1.5 now. Marc has responded again in the middle sector. Ogura, Marc's now going to just try to hold it. He's not going to try and extend the gap to Ogura because he'll drop it if he tries. He's got to just hold Ogura where he is. The gap that over the line was 8 tenths. What's it this lap? Go over the line now. Marc and Ogura is set 0.745. Ogura gained in the first and fourth sector, lost in the second and third. So they're even right now. Is Marc Márquez and Ogura. 3 laps to go now. What more does Ogura have to close on Marc? Come on, Acosta and Mir now. Acosta gone down the inside of Mir. Maybe now it's too late to do that. The gap's too far. Mir staying ahead of Mir. Mir staying ahead of Acosta, sorry. But Acosta's clearly got tyre pressure problems. Look at the way he's riding behind Mir. Clearly, Digi Antonio's taken another 10th out of Pecco Bagnaia as well. God, didn't you love MotoGP? There's things happening everywhere. Morbidelli is 14th now, so he's just within the points. Top break is right for, but there goes Acosta down the inside of Mir. And he's ran wide. I mean, that was... I saw him on the break and I thought, you're not going to make that corner. Acosta getting bullied by Mir. No, he's not. He's there because his tyre pressure. That's why. He's got to stay behind a bike, otherwise he'll get a penalty. It's quite clear to you. You can see he's faster, but it's very hard to overtake him. Acosta's gone again down the inside, down the hill. That'd be a lunge. Good move from... It does look like he's got a dent still in this fairing. But Acosta back ahead of Mir, which maybe tells me he's got the tyre pressure where he needs to now. He's done enough laps. So basically the tyre pressure rules, you need to do a certain amount of laps with the tyre pressure in that window, in a certain threshold. He's done... If he pulls away now, Acosta getting bullied by tyre pressure. Yeah, facts. Because watch, if Acosta pulls away now by Mir, That just sums it up. That sums up what he had wrong with him, and I suspect he will pull away from Mir. But the thing is, the gap, he's lost that much time now doing the tyre pressure. The gap is 7 seconds to Di Antonio. It's an awful rule. Get it gone. Back at the front. Márquez leads Ogura about 8/10 of a second. Ogura did the fastest first sector of the race. Marc just responded with the fastest third sector of the race. They're matching each other. Ogura's got to do more pace if he wants to beat Marc Márquez. Martin now is going to go down the inside of the regular. Moreira, who's dropping out the top 10 now. Moreira's really losing speed. I thought Moreira would be a bit more competitive in the race, especially after he dropped it in the sprint race yesterday. I thought he'd have something more on the centre race. He dropped to 11. Martin in the top 10 in 10th. I mean, it's closing whatever point he can on Bezzecchi, who has scored 0 points from the whole weekend. Over the line, Ogura's responding with the fastest fourth sector race. He's got the gap within 7/10 now. Hello, Scott. You're missing quite a good one. Ogura's got the gap between 7/10 of Marc Márquez now, so he's responded in the fourth sector. 2 laps left. Ogura still needs more than that. He needs more than a 10th though. If he just get away a 10th every sector, he could be on Mark. Gracie says, "Oh, hello, Gracie. Is she watching this as well?" What you're missing is you're missing a masterclass by Márquez and also Ogura, and they're showing. I did predict later on the race it'll be these two to go. Di Antonio's got the gap to Pecco Bagnaia to 1.1 seconds now. Remember, it was 2.1. Di Antonio that lap actually did the fastest lap of the race, so he's going to hunt down Pecco Bagnaia with 2 laps to go. The race person Marc is consistent mid-53s, 53.4, 53.6, 53.5, 53.4, 53.6, oh, there's a lot of 53s, all in the mid-53s, and Ogura will be doing the exact same thing. Gap is 5.5 tenths now. Ogura's responding. Ogura is doing exactly what he needs to do to catch Marc. Again, it's one thing to catch Marc, you then got to pass him. And to pass Marc Márquez, you've got to take him by surprise. The gap is just under 5/10 now. He's got it within 5/10 in the stadium section. It's perfect from Ogura. And we know he's quick in the last sector. Look where he made the move to pass Bagnaia and how much he closed the mark within the last sector here and the first sector. The only sector Marc is really quicker than Ogura is the second sector because of the left-handers. In sector 1, 3, and 4, Ogura can close the mark. The gap is 5.5 tenths coming back down the hill now. 1.5 laps to go over the Brno Grand Prix. Close to 10.5 he did in the first sector. But again, look, he lost 200s in the middle, so Marc's holding him. The third sector is crucial. This is where Ogura comes. You can see Marc's just wider on the exit now at turn 10, coming back up the hill into this touch chicane. Marc will be quicker in this chicane, but can Ogura close the gap? Ogura has once again lost 700s of a second. So Marc's held him in the third sector. Ogura's good also in the fourth sector. So Marc's doing exactly what he needs to do. Ogura needs more speed. If Marc doesn't make a mistake in this last lap, Ogura needs more speed. This is a masterclass from Marc. It really is. The gap is 7/10 now. Coming into the penultimate corner, Marc needs to have a perfect lap now, and he wins 2. I said, if he wins, I will be doing a very smug, too little too late for Ogura, unfortunately. I won't be so sure. Ogura is going to push like hell in this last lap, but so is Marc Márquez. I did say after Marc's surgery, if he comes back, Aprilia will be panicking, because if he can come back and be competitive on that Ducati, Marc will win. And if Marc wins this, since his surgery, he would have won 2 of the last 3 races, 2 races back-to-back. He would close the gap massively to Marco Bezzecchi. Aprilia are already sweating. They're going to be sweating more. And you've got Bezzecchi, who's slapping Marshall, so he's missing races, while Marc's potentially winning another Grand Prix, but he's got to hold Ogura back for another lap. The gap is within 7/10 of a second. Acosta's done. Yeah. Has it broke down again? Has it broke down again from Acosta? Yep. Another mechanical problem for Pedro Acosta. It doesn't look like the right-hand device because the bike's still up, so that's another KTM. That's another KTM mechanical problem, and I think he was just about closing the gap closing the back gap to Di Antonio. That's why he won't be on the KTM next year. Acosta will not be on the KTM next year because he's wasting his potential for what he can do because the KTM's awful. And I think tomorrow or next week you'll hear the announcement. Digi is right behind Pekka. I am watching. You'll hear the announcement next week, I think. Acosta will sign for the factory red. Di Antonio is 4 tenths behind Bagnaia, fastest first sector. Márquez is holding Ogura at 5.5 tenths now for the lead. Perfect for Márquez, perfect for Ogura, but Ogura needed a quicker start. He got bullied early on by the red bikes. And now Márquez has got one more sector before he wins back-to-back races. He just needs to hang on 5.5 tenths. He's got the gap. Di Antonio is within 4 tenths of Bagnaia now. That could be a lunge into the last chicane. Watch out for Di Antonio and Bagnaia in the back if anyone's watching it itself. But Márquez has got 4 more corners, a left and a right and a left and a right, along with a straight in the middle, which Ducati's fine on. He does the first left and right fine. He's got up the hill with another left and right when he's strong into this left-hander. He did crash there on the other day, though, but he's strong into this left-hander. He'll just cruise now. He's got 5.5 gaps. This is a masterclass by yet again a recovering Marc Márquez. He is the GOAT of the sport. Oh, is that a moment? Oh, Jesus Christ, Marc. I said he crashed there before. He had a moment, a big moment at the front in that left-hander. Job, but Marc Márquez is the alien of MotoGP. He wins back-to-back races. He beats Ogura. Pecco Bagnaia holds on for 3rd place. Di Antonio with the fast lap on the race on the last lap. Marc had a huge moment on the front of that bike in the penultimate corner. Toprak's 14th. He's got Maverick Vinales in the last lap. Martin is right behind Marini now into the last corner. That's not be enough. Martin will be 9th. Marini 8th. Mir did cross the line in 5th. Mir 1 stayed on the bike. Scored a good finish in 5th. Aldeguer 6th. Fernandez 7th. Marini 8th. Martin 9th. Bastianini, the other KTMs, in 10th. Gutting for Acosta to break down on the last lap. Yet again, the bike lets him down. Yuri's doing the checkered flag. Good on Yuri. However, Marc Márquez, masterclass. He's an alien. He's the GOAT of the sport. Absolute GOAT of the sport. However, that moment in that last left-hander will have scared him. Apparently, Mir is going to Ducati, but the Grassini. But Marc Márquez is an absolute GOAT. You can see Mark's knackered. The fact that Mark didn't celebrate over the line. Cal did finish, and actually, he was 11.5 seconds behind. I thought it was closer than that. But, Scott, there was a long time he was within 2 seconds of the Yamahas. Big up Cal Crutch, though. He finished the race. He crashed yesterday, but it's another race finish for him. You can see Mark's knackered. We know Mark well enough now to read his body language. He tries to kid it. He's absolutely knackered. But Ogura and all the young ones come up realising Mark might be older than him. Marc Márquez, look at that, by the way. Marc Márquez is now P4 in the standings, 40 points behind Marco Bezzecchi. Yeah, Pav, I just saw it. 40 points behind Bezzecchi. 3 or 4 races ago, that was something like 102. I said in my podcast, when Mark has his surgery and he can come back kind of fit, anywhere near 80% fitness, Aprilia will be scared. Cool, Mark had a moment in that left hand at the last lap. That would have scared him. Yeah, he didn't need that slide. He's an absolute freak, Márquez. Absolute alien, absolute freak. The Ducati did not get that moment in that penultimate corner. He's got the gaps from 102 points. He broke his foot in Le Mans. He had to take a screw outwards of pushing on his nerve for the first 5 or 6 races. I said, if he comes back anywhere near 80% fitness, he will win and he will scare Aprilia. What he's doing at 33 years old and battered is showing he's the greatest of all time to ride a MotoGP bike. He's the greatest to touch a bike. He's the greatest to grace motorbike racing. At this point, to me, by far, no one can do what he does. He's proved it yet again. Back-to-back wins. Gap is 40 points Bezzecchi. He's eyeing up a 10th World Championship. And also, for anyone who knows the rivalry between him and Valentino Rossi, a 10th title puts him 1 ahead of Valentino Rossi. It was 102 points. I've just said 102 points. 4 races later, 40. I said they've got to watch him. They're going to be scared. They're going to make mistakes. Look what Aprilia are doing. My dad said he couldn't load the chat. That's why he wasn't here. What is the next track, by the way? I missed that in commentary. They were saying about the next round. I enjoyed that. MotoGP is just wicked, isn't it? It really is. Big up Ogura. I think Ogura, I said him and Mark. I'm glad I predicted right again. As per usual. But I said Ogura and Mark will be the ones at the pace at the end when the bike starts sliding more and the tyres grip is slightly gone and the bike get lower fuel, they're lighter while sliding. They're better at that. The thing is, I think Ogura, when he got done by both Reds, that really pushed him back because he was stuck there for a while. He could go with the Reds because it's difficult to overtake on these bikes, especially a long track like this, which is interesting. He could go with the Red bikes, but to make the move was one thing. That's why I was saying if anyone caught someone, it's one thing to catch him, it's another thing to overtake them. Need to breathe. He just couldn't overtake him, so I think actually Ogura lost it early on. But again, Mark's reminding them, you're not racing a normal human. You're racing a king, you're racing a goat, you're racing an alien. Oh, Brno is next weekend. Back-to-back MotoGP. Oh, we got 2 races next weekend. Interesting. I didn't know that. Did not know that. It's Formula 1 next weekend as well. We're doing multiple streams next weekend. Potentially. But we do have multiple streams next weekend. I want to come in late on Saturday then because I want to stream the sprint race. The thing is, we have to... Mark's got a lot of people who don't like him, mostly the Italian fans, the Rossi fans. However, you have to... What I don't like about modern day sports fans, this isn't just in racing, this is in all sports. People don't like accepting that they have to appreciate greatness when you're watching it in real time, and not the stories like we have, for example, Michael Jordan and stories like that. We weren't alive. A lot of us weren't alive to witness it. And nowadays, there's this weird stigma. I don't know if it was the same back then. Maybe it could have been. But there's this stigma where people don't appreciate greatness when they're watching it live. They want to hear the stories of it, but then they want to kind of discuss it in a negative way in the moment. And I think that's such a bad mindset to have. You need to appreciate greatness when you're watching it. We have it in Max in F1. We have it in, well, frankly, we have it in LeBron in NBA. We have it with Marc Márquez in MotoGP. We had it with Messi in football. Mark did win, yes, if you couldn't hear. He's a freak. He's a freak. He's an alien. He's hunting for the 10th world title. I said he would. I don't want to be smug. What was that famous Jeremy Clarkson saying? Time for the smug face. Good old Clarkson. We need to watch Clarkson's farm, actually. What are you looking for? What shoe? Hodge has made a good point. Marcus would normally jump up in celebrations, but he's knackered. Absolutely knackered. Even I'm knackered. I'm shattered. Mark is destroyed. Completely knackered. And in fairness, he puts on a show, doesn't he? He needs to. He is MotoGP. He's just proven as much as he's here, the amount of surgeries he has, he's the best by an absolute mile. Masterclass from him. Nearly a masterclass from Ogura. I think that the move early on with the both Reds, that affected him because it was impressive Ogura could go with the Reds. It was unfortunate that he wasn't close enough to make a move early on the Reds. That's what cost him, I think. However, I will leave it there. The stream's gone on for over an hour. I'm going to breathe now because that was a very good race to watch. Will there be a stream midweek? Maybe. Yeah, there'll be a stream midweek, maybe a Wednesday or a Thursday. But then if not, it's midweek. There will be a podcast episode coming out on Apex to Apex podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and follow to both of them. Make sure you subscribe to the Apex to Apex pod on Twitch as well. As I said, then there will be an episode midweek or early week. It's Pedro Acosta. Yeah, the bike cuts out in third gear on the last lap. He hates it. He just hates that KTM. He hates it. But again, it's another reliability problem for KTM. I don't know what they're doing, but it's the most unreliable bike on the planet, and every race it breaks down. Anyway, as I was saying, a podcast, midweek, Apex Apex podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Follow and subscribe to that. Maybe a stream midweek if I can, probably Wednesday or Thursday on Apex Apex pod on Twitch. Follow and subscribe to that so we can all build and engage and get money sneakily. If there isn't a stream midweek, there will definitely be streams next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, for the MotoGP sprint race and main race, which is at Assen. One of my favourite tracks is Assen. It's twisty, it's tough, there's overtaking. I love Assen. And Formula 1 is also at Austria, which again, one of my favourite tracks. There'll be streams for both of them. Just going to check they're not clashing. They shouldn't clash. They should be smarter than that not to clash the times. Race at Sunday is at 2 for F1, which I'm guessing means MotoGP will be at 1. I think it's Assen. It was always weird at Assen, isn't it? Hang on. The sprint is at 2 on Saturday, which means Sunday should be 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. Perfect. See you midweek, lads, and I'll see you on the weekend as well for the next race weekend. Double whammy coming up. Thank you for joining. Enjoyed MotoGP, enjoyed the commentary. As I said, subscribe and follow the links. Bring up the new overlay if I have, by the way. Look how stunning the new overlay looks. Follow the links all at the bottom. Follow all the handles. Subscribe where you can. Get involved. Send me things. Send me whatever. The podcast will soon be coming back with different things happening, different segments once it's not racing. But you do you. I'll see you the week and next week. Thanks, lads. Bye. Where's my mouse? It's on my lap. Dosh.